And hello guys, welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. All right guys, hopefully everybody had a great day. Late recap tonight, late recap. I had a busy day. I'm gonna try to do this quick as well. Just trying to get this out before it's midnight. Anyways, very good day actually. Very good day. I mean, the market long in the morning worked out for us really good. I will show you my timestamp guidance and everything. So we'll talk about that as well. And we had some nice long winners in the morning. There was a lot of setups that worked. We were basically done in first 2 hours. So we'll talk about that. We'll go through our watch list. We go through everything. Just a quick introduction. Not going to do a long introduction, but a quick introduction. All these trade recaps, all these teachings are from any trades I do in the community. I share in the community, or a lot of the trades are I don't even trade, but I'm guiding my community through, and a lot of the trades our expert traders and a lot of our community members are calling out those trades. So we recap those. We trade repeatable system. My repeatable system, thousands of traders across the world use my system to trade consistently. I have repeatable setups that we trade. We do not just trade randomly. If our system triggers, then we long or short, buy calls or puts. Every morning we have this game plan. You see today's game plan right in front of you. I provide this list 20 minutes before the market open, which includes pre-market earnings, market gap ups, gap downs, breakouts, IPOs, upgrades, downgrades, anything that has news. So you can see that there were a bunch of earning plays, ZS, DKS, and we had DKS $3, which was again a beautiful short. Then we had some news plays like NVIDIA and ASTS. Not everything will trigger. I keep eyes on everything. If I see something which is a good setup, then I alert it in my alerts feed, or if I'm on voice, I let everybody know that that setup is looking good. Not all of the setups will trigger from the watch list, but the watch list, we provide the watch list every day. I provide the trading view watch list every day. I'm on the live screen sharing my screen, and I'm also live on the voice for a few hours. So we'll talk about few of the plays that worked out today. Actually, we had a good day, right? We only thing that would not really worked was SMCI long midday loser, and then Zscaler curl gave us a little bit, and then it was a break even scratch. So we'll talk about that. But otherwise, we had a solid day. I will show you all the timestamp guidance. We provide this game plan every morning. Then I also have day 2, day 3 watch list that I provide to all the traders. This is my day 2, day 3 repeatable strategy, which gives us the trades that had been moving last few days, and based upon our EMA cloud and system, we trade those. All these things you can learn from watching my, I have hundreds of videos on YouTube. You can watch it, or you can come to my community and watch my webinars and PowerPoint presentations where I cover everything, every setup with timestamped examples from past, so that you guys can also trade the similar setups. In addition to that, we provide crypto levels for coin MSTR. We provide levels for SPY, QQQ, Amazon, Meta, all those names, and whichever daily breakout, we trade them daily. So basically these stocks we trade them daily. So anyways, in our community we have a lot of resources. We have news bots, we have option scanners, support resistance alerts. We have 4 or 5 live streams. We have a book map. We have trade ideas. A lot of value in our community. We provide over 500, 600 per month worth of trading tools, free for everyone in the community. We are not an alert service, but we try to work together to make consistent money profits and to avoid big losers. Managing risk is also always our first priority. We never let any loss get out of the way, because we respect our rules. So yes, that being said, let's start with the recap. Let's start with the first recap. So we're going to start with the first one. We're going to start talking about is SPY QQQs. So every day, like I talk about it, every day the market has personality. So what was the personality today for SPY and QQQ? The personality today was a gap down, and the trades were, we were looking at the pre-market lows, and we were looking at the VIX as well today. VIX was very important again today as well. So the plan I gave everybody on VIX today is, I gave this plan. If you just took this plan in the pre-market and you traded long, you made your money in first 1-2 hours and you were done for the day. So the plan was simple. The VIX 2320, 2250, 22 levels are for the buys. right? If VIX breaks those levels to the downside, then market will push. If VIX holds those levels, then it's dangerous for markets. It's just opposite to what we did yesterday. And as soon as the market opened, you can see that VIX was weak. So VIX faded, and you can see SPY went on to push, $4, $5, and QQQ also went on to push $4. So, by the way, all this, if you want to trade SPY QQQ for living consistently, you have to watch my webinar. It's a 2.5-hour webinar with PowerPoint and presentations. You can just trade SPY QQQ, SPX in the market every day. You don't even need to trade anything else. I teach it in a pretty good way. All that I have shown you in previous YouTube videos, or you can just watch my hundreds of YouTube videos from last year. It will teach you that as well. But anyways, so this was the plan. So this was the VIX plan. So I already gave the VIX plan, and let's look at now SPY and QQQ. So what was happening with SPY, QQQ? Let's see. So when I saw SPY pushing there, I told everybody you can try some long. When I saw it pushing over the clouds, I told somebody can try some long on the amateur move. QQQ was still struggling. So at that time, I told everybody that wait for the QQQs. But later, by the way, I have all these levels. You can see that how market pushed over these levels. Once these levels were breached, 552s, 461, 65s, 460, 23s, 550, 90s. Once these levels were breached, it was a confirmed long. So anyways, I talked about that long, and then we were talking about QQQ turned bullish long as well. And then we were just long it. And of course, we take our first profits into 10 a.m. So you always take your first profits into 10 a.m. You see, we pushed nicely. The calls and longs went nicely into 10 a.m. And of course, 10 a.m. is all, there's a data, there's always something. You see the big candle flush on 10 a.m. So we still didn't short the market. There was no reason to short the market. When it was flushing, I told everybody, we have to watch this pre-market lows. If the pre-market lows hold, we're going to push higher, right? So so let's see. Yeah. So we talk about the 10 a.m. and then VIX needs to break 21. That's what I told everyone, to push higher. And guess what? This is something to learn, right? We pushed and pushed back over the clouds. Pull down, pushed back over the clouds, right? So if you take profits here and we swipe down, it's quickly came back up, right? And if our average was right here, we were fine, because we know our stops are right here, and all you can add back when it reclaims this. When it reclaims it, you can add back. So anyways, I didn't tell anybody to cut the full longs when we were having this action. I actually gave the flag break here to everyone that you see here, this flag break. And there were some rejections, but we held it. Then we broke out and pushed higher. Held it. We broke out, we pushed higher. A lot of our trades were working with that. TQQ was pushing nicely with that as well. TQQQ pushed nicely. You can see TQQQ pushed $2. We can trade TQQQ. SPXL pushed nicely from that trade from 145 to 148. And when finally we break this 512s right here, that's when I told everybody exit. We're done for the day. There was some calls, but midday trades are not really, it's their bad RR. There's a lot of chop risk. So 554.70 was my one target. I gave a target of 463.22 on QQQs. Most of the targets I gave met. We missed 555, but still it was a decent move for us. So that was a SPY QQQ winning trades in the community, guys. Let's go to the next one. So we're going to talk about IWM. We stopped out of this swing on yesterday, but today TNA, that's the that's the leverage ETF for IWM, that was bullish. So I gave the long on TNA, and then we were long, can add, and we long it, same thing, swipe down, no reason to cut. It's just 10 a.m. swipes and reclaims that. And then TNA pushed like a $1 trade for us there as well. And finally it broke that 512, then you break out. I was thinking of the swing, but so much bearishness, right? So there was no reason to hold the swing as well, because you see the clouds breaking down. So we can always add swings later, but market's so bearish and a daily chart is so bearish. VIX is so strong, guys. That does not give me confidence to hold the swing here, right? So if you look at the SPY chart, it's pretty bad, right? This chart is, it wants to go to this gap area right here, and yeah, 548, and there's a big gap. So, and the VIX is relentless. So VIX is relentless, right? If VIX keeps pushing, we're gonna have a hard time. So yeah, we're planning to hold some swings, did not because of this very action. So, but anyways, decent trades. These were our first 2-hour trades for us, and then we made most of money there. Let's go to the next one. All right, the next one we're going to discuss is GTLB. So GTLB was on our game plan this morning. Let's look at it. GTLB was one of the earning plays for us. You can see here, gap fill under 50, 70, long over it, right? So that was the plan. This was the plan on GTLB. So what happened on GTLB? Let's take a look. So GTLB, you see that, right? It was in the pre-market, it was under the clouds. So as soon as it starts to push over the clouds, it turns bullish. That tells me it's turned bullish. So I gave it a GTLB as a long, and I gave the risk of 50 bucks or 49.80s. So that was my long idea on GTLB, right? This is a Ripster Cloud 3450 EMA reclaim bullish setup. And after that, you can see my timestamp guidance. It pushed from that 51 entry all the way to 52.60. Then we finally pushed to 54. I gave the 55 was my final target. I was short of it by 12 cents. GTLB pulled back 512. That's where you take all profit. You get out. It did provide some bounce setups later in the day. I think the traders in the community were trading it, and it did give another scalp end of the day. I do like it. It's on watch for day 2 setup. If it pushes over today's high, we will long it. If it pulls back to 53, holds it, we will long it. So that's your day 2 setup, and make sure you remember it. If it pulls back to this area, or even sometimes this, hopefully not too far, somewhere here, and then it holds, you long it again. It pushes over 55, you long it again. Very strong company, very good growth earnings. I really like this name. Keep eyes tomorrow. Nice, easy setup, great win. I think RGB was on top of it on community as well. Let's go to the next one. All right, let's talk about NVIDIA now. So NVIDIA was our long today. We're planning to swing it, but end of the day, I decided against it. So let's look at it. So NVIDIA was no long initially. It was the first candle, there was no long. But when I saw the second candle pushing, that's when I said, yes, NVIDIA, we can long it, right? I myself longed it at 945. You can see my entry right here at 106.61. That's I guided everybody to put their stops under 105.20 or under 106 if you want a tighter stops, and that was a NVIDIA long right in the morning, 947. And as we started to push up, we kept moving our stops up. 110 was my NVIDIA target, so we got it. We got depending on your entry, you got $3 to $4 trade there on NVIDIA. And I was planning to swing it, but once it broke 3450 clouds, I was out. But here you can see NVIDIA timestamp guidance. Most of my guidance was on voice, so you will not see that. But NVIDIA was all right setup. Let's go to the next one. By the way, I provide these levels on NVIDIA in the pre-market as well, right here. And NVIDIA had a news, so it was also on our game plan. DOJ investigations into AI dominance. I told everyone in pre-market only, long over 512s, avoid under it. So that was on NVIDIA. So let's look at next one. Next one was DLTR. Let's look at DLTR. So DLTR was a short today. It was less. It's just, if you remember, we did a trade on. If I can find that, I can show you. We did a trade on $3. Oh, sorry, we did a trade on Dollar General, right? So the important thing to remember here, you always remember the same sector, the similar setup. So this was a $3 trade, right? So we shorted it, big, huge day, huge winner for us, big winner for us. And you can see that how we faded it bearish start. So same sector, the dollar stocks are struggling. So this morning when I saw that $3 was also on watch list, so I was bearish biased right away. Right, so let's see if I'm going to show you my pre-market guidance on $3, bearish bias to short as long as under 512s, right? So that was the plan already. So the lesson you learn from here, always remember the same sector, the similar stocks, the peers, right? If the cybersecurity is weak, other cybersecurity gonna stocks are weak. If dollar tree is so heavy, the next dollar tree dollar stock is gonna be heavy. Both report bad earnings, both have bad guidance, both are super bearish. So always remember that. Never forget this. This is very important. So anyways, you can see that dollar tree, I told everybody short. So this was a midday short. Let's look at the morning alerts. So I told everybody short. No, actually that's the correct one. So there was the short. There's a short, and watch the pops. It's break. When I mentioned it was right here. It faded from there all the way to 64. Bounce, never reclaimed, right? So I told everybody lock half, leave rest. Lock half, leave rest. You see how it faded from all the way from all the way from $70 all the way to $64. Huge winner, right? Even if you shorted $69, still it was a $5 winner for you. And then when it's breaking down here, and that's when I mentioned on the voice, it's gonna go much more. Just bro lows for more fades, right? And even after that low breakdown, it faded much more from 64 all the way to 61, and it's going to fade tomorrow as well. So we watch as day 2 setup for the shorts as well. So beautiful trade. I know a lot of traders traded puts. That that's good, but you can see that how this was almost a $10 per share short, on DLTR. Beautiful winner. Let's go to the next one. So Tesla was another big winner in the community today. Why was it? So okay, so let's go back to Tesla. Let's see what was going on Tesla. Let's look at a pre-market level. So you can see the pre-market levels 210, 10, 2947, 120.94, 123.80, and we have all these MTF clouds, right? So multi-time frame clouds. By the way, I'm going to do a webinar. I'll probably invite the free guys as well. For our community, we're going to do a webinar where I explain everything. So anyways, the multi-time frame clouds means these are the EMAs from daily charts, these are the EMAs from 1 hour charts. And you see what Tesla is doing. Tesla is pushing over 1 hour EMAs, Tesla is pushing over daily EMAs. It's trying to turn bullish on every time frame. Tesla is trying to turn bullish on. So that was very impressive, and that's why it triggered long right at open. And not only this, we have these option flows in the community, and you can see that the option flows started to come right at open, right at open. 220C calls started to hit, and all the community members, because these scanners are already always on our screen shares, so people are already watching these alerts, and everybody was instantly focused on Tesla. And here's the thing, guys, you have to focus on the setup you like. In the pre-market, you watch the setups. In the pre-market, I'm looking at Tesla, which is such a good setup, pushing over MTF clouds. I know it's a no-brainer long. Anyways, I gave the target of 218. And then I told everybody to log something on 218 and 219. The final target was 220, but we actually got much more than 220. You see, Tesla never broke 512s. Tesla never broke the 512s. So this is the power of the system and the flow. You have your EMA clouds, you have your level, and the flow gives you more conviction when you are seeing 220 calls, because this is the flow AI. It's not just a single call. It aggregates a bunch of the calls coming in, and a really good job Ghostboard has done with this tool. And we can see the same flow on other, we have 3 option flow scanners in our community, but it's all about watching the flow right at open and understanding that flow. And that flow may help you with more confidence, and beautiful trade. The options went crazy, 150%, and a nice trade there as well. Almost $7 to $8 per share profit for everyone. Tesla, by the way, is very nicely setting up for another breakout. We have to watch it. It showed relative strength today to the market. So tomorrow, if it holds 218, then we'll be interested. But if it breaks this level, then we have to step away, because it can pull back to the MTF clouds. So next one we're going to look at is ASAN. So ASN was also on our watch list. So the ASAN setup was bearish bias to short, the cloud reject, right? So that was the setup on ASN. 1180 was resistance, and support was 1120. But once ASN pushed over the clouds, it's no longer a short, right? So we are watching that rejection, right? But you see that it's not breaking the pre-market lows, and it's holding this 512 cloud. So you see that right here. So there's no short, because there's no candle that's under the 512. So it's a bullish, and that's what I told everybody. It's triggered bullish long, and you from the cloud breakout, it continued to push all the day, for nice little scalp all day. So you could easily scalp, risking 10, 20 cents. You could easily make 30, 40 cents and 50 cents maybe on ASN. So let's talk about Zscaler. Zscaler was a kind of scratch today. I mean, because it never really reclaimed the clouds. So we were watching the curls, right? There was definitely a curl long. You could long it. You can put your stops at 158, and it did push, right? It did push, and then you can see my timestamp guidance here. We did push to 163, but you have to stop out here. When you see this candle, you have to stop out. You don't even need to wait further, right? Because it never turned bullish. It rejected 3450. So you have to understand that the sellers are still in control, and tomorrow it can fade more. There is no buying on Zscaler. So we tried, when it broke down, I sold it for break even because I didn't see the breakdown in the time. So it was a scratch trade for us, but I did give everybody warning that it's not really an A plus setup. It's always a C minus setup when it's under these clouds. So that was that. Let's go to the next one. All right, let's look at next one. Next one was SMCI. So SMCI kind of pushed at the open, and we were trying to long it here over this 512s and 3450. That's what I told everybody. SMCI is flagging. Initially it was a short. We did short it for the amateur move. We quickly made $10 there. That's fine. Then when it turned 512s, it was not a short anymore. So, and we were trying to take it long here, but it failed and broke out, and we stopped out. It has a big range lately, so even when stopping out, you lose a little bit there. So we lost it. It didn't kind of work. Broke here and then broke here. You clearly see it has no strength whatsoever. So SMCI loser today. Let's go to the next one. All right, let's look at ASTS. ASTS was mostly a trade idea setup alerted by the community traders, right? You can see how Mikshu was on top of it, Lee, Slaughter, D-Trades, all the great traders in the community were on top of it. And what was the setup? What did they look on ASTS? Anyways, ASTS was one of our top plays this morning. I had highlighted it in the red for that very reason. Bullish bias to long the pullbacks. So let's see what happens on ASTS. So ASTS did not hold 3450, but it did pull to 1 hour MTF clouds, and once it reclaimed this 3450 clouds, that's where it becomes the confident long, and that's where the folks in my community started to alert it long to everyone, right? So that's where they started to talk about long. Mikshu started to talk about it, D-Trade, Slaughter, so everybody came together on this setup. You can see that how everybody's guiding each other. That's what I love about my community. We are a family of traders, no ego, not an alert service, but we try to help everybody together to make everyone money and profitable trades. And you can see, I didn't even talk about it much. It was all guidance on the floor, but amazing group of traders, family of traders we have in the community. So just wanted to highlight that. And you see that ASTS, and I did mention on the voice that as long as it holds, you hold it, right? It was not my initial long idea, but it was our community's. But look at it, it went from 31 all the way to 36. Literally, people made a lot of profit on this trade, this one little trade, right? It's again a repeatable setup. We are not longing here, but we long right here, right? If you long here, you stop out and then you get back in. And then when you have this pre-market high breakout, then we go further leg up. You see I have this breakout alert right here. That was the breakout alert, and then even from that breakout alert, ASTS pushed high, right? Again, and also do not ignore the daily chart. That was a beautiful daily chart. So beautiful teamwork, very happy. Community call outs today on ASTS, really nicely done. Very proud of this. Let's go to the next one. All right, let's look at one of our swings that we were trading 1/3 size on CELH. We had added it at around $38-40, and our stops were 36. Our stops hit today. Good company, but I always want to see that if my bullish thesis and the chart say the same thing. If the chart starts to curl, then it's okay. I don't like to be in drawdown. If we did not cut our swing at 36, we would have lost like $5 by now. So I told everybody to cut this swing, and we were 1/3 sizes in our swing chat. You can see CELH. Let's see here. Where did it go? CELH. We were. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, CELH 1/3 shares, right? So that's what we were doing, but I did not like the way it broke down. Now it's going to take some time. You look at the volume sell, so many stops held, right? So that's not really good. I mean, it's a good company, might be good long term, but we can always add back when it starts to curl. We don't really need to find the bottom. So anyways, that was a swing loser on today. All right, let's look at some of our news winners today. There were a bunch of news winners which I even tweeted about as well in on the Twitter as well. There were solid winners on the news plays. Let's look here. So which one were there? Let's see if we can find those news plays, right? So there were some there. Okay, let's go here. So let's see if I can show you guys there. So one was X. So basically Biden was blocking the Nippon deal, and the other news was Verizon. Fiber was buying Verizon. So there was those two news plays, right? Verizon and we have our news bots, we have our news bot channel, we have live news on our trading floor. We are always the first to get on the news. So why was Verizon bearish? So Verizon were buying this company Frontier, and whenever a company is buying another company, spends billions of dollars, that takes a toll on the company because they're spending cash or they're using the shares, whatever. But the point is their equity, they're using their equity to buy the other company. So that's a bearish, most scenarios is bearish for the company, and we see the sell-off on that company. So that was why you can see that Verizon news hit on our news bot. You see that news bot hit Verizon. He gave the highlights earlier. You see there 131, and similarly there was a news bot on X as well. And also the news bot speaks we have a news squawks. We speak the news, and it was really solid trade for us. And anyways, you have to watch my previous videos where I explain how to play the news. You have to make a judgment call. Like I made a judgment call that Verizon is heavy, and Verizon ran up so much in recent days, so there was a room for Verizon to fade. That's why I liked Verizon short. X, yes, X news was big because X has been running on this deal news for some time now, right? So it was it was very heavy, very bearish. If you're far away from the risk, if your risk is like $35, you take smaller size. I took like 1/3 size, right? Or 1/4 size. And X, I showed it at like 32, 33s, and it still made like $3 on it. So that's how you play the news plays, right? And that's these news came and it's just made our day today. So our news bot. So that was it for today, guys. Solid day, and see you guys again. By the way, we're still running our promo for last few days. If you want to join the community, trade with us, make sure you utilize that. All right, guys, take care. Bye.